Want to study abroad? What are the expenses? How is the life at campus? What documentation is required? Those are the questions you should think about when planning to study abroad. So, so that your goal is set. These are some of the questions that we will be finding the answers to today. A very good afternoon to everyone. I welcome you all to the webinar on overseas education organized by Super IEEE Program, a special interest group of the IEEE student branch at the NorthCap University in collaboration with IDP Education. As far as for a bright future is concerned, studying abroad are one of the best options. Applying to the right universities is a tedious task and requires months of systematic work. Every step is important, and to guide us through the entire process and apply to your dream universities, we have with us today Mrs. Megha Saxena, Destination Manager at IDP Education. She has more than 9 years of rich and diverse experience as a study abroad consultant. Her academic degrees include a bachelor's in commerce from Sophia Girls College, Ajmer, and a MBA from IIL Institute of Higher Education, Gurugram. Ma'am's area of expertise is counseling and guiding students pursuing graduate and undergraduate programs. She has an in-depth knowledge of the UG, MS, and MBA programs offered at the premier global institutions in the USA and Canada. Her expert counseling has enabled students to secure admissions in top-tier universities. I extend a very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Before we begin, please note that there will be a feedback form in the description box. Feel free to ask your questions in the comment section. Ma'am will answer those questions towards the end of the session. Now I hand over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja, for the wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, students, and a very warm welcome for today in today's session. As Pooja has already told you, my name is Megha, and I am associated with the overseas education industry for more like around a decade by now. Currently, I'm associated with IDP Education, which is India's leading overseas education consultancy. In today's session, we will talk about why study overseas, and the destination we will focus on will be US and Canada, which is North America as a destination overall. So let us begin, and I would share my screen right now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, your screen is visible.
Okay. So the coverage for today would be why study overseas. We would also do a quick comparative analysis between studying in India and studying overseas. We would talk about the cost of education, scholarship, which is one of the most hot topic among students. We will talk about the application process, the entry requirement, and also the timeline. Also, we will touch upon the post-study work ride, which is again one of the most important question for students. So let's begin. Why study overseas? Now, obviously, a lot of programs are also available at the master's and the PhD level in India as well. Still, there are a couple of advantages if you complete your master's or your PhD from universities overseas. The very first reason is broadening your horizon. So, when you study overseas, you are studying with students who come from various different backgrounds, different educational systems, different work experience in different countries. So, You are studying in a different country, which helps you broaden your horizon. You study with students coming from different backgrounds, so you not only hone your professional skills but also your personal skills. So imagine studying in a class where you are doing a project and you are sitting with students coming from Germany, China, Poland, and other parts of the world. So when you study and work together on projects, you also learn from each other. So faculty teaching is just one aspect of the application, but learning from each other is also something which is a benefit of studying overseas. The third is access to new teaching methodology. One of the most popular teaching methodology overseas is case studies. Here in India, our program is much more theoretical in nature. Whereas when we talk about overseas, it's more based on case studies. So again, yes, a new teaching methodology is something you get an access for. Enhance your chances of employability. So, in today's world where you have a lot of multinational companies having their offices in different parts of the world, you also enhance and increase your chances of getting employed by top brands if you have an international degree on your resume. Now, some of the other pointers which are important as well. Indian universities are more theoretical in nature till now. So the program more focuses on the theory bit of it. It's not very practical based in nature. Whereas overseas, the curriculum is more practical based. So and it's also not only practical, it's more dependent on case studies also. So if you see the fourth point on the slide, it's the case study methodology is very, very popular. If I talk about programs like MBA, Howard University and University of Virginia, these are two popular business schools where the entire curriculum is 100% case study. So the assessments which you also have is the open book assessments. You only go through the concepts, and then you have cases where you discuss upon what would have gone right and what are the probable things which would have gone wrong. So it's more a practical based approach. Another important aspect is the clubs and communities which are there on campus. Here in India as well, you have a lot of groups and clubs and communities as a part of the university. Whereas in overseas, you have real time live projects going on in these clubs. So, for example, if I choose to study finance or computer science, there would be live projects in the clubs, and the clubs are like entrepreneurial club, marketing club, data science club. So you work on live projects which really enhance your learning. Another important pointer is flexibility of curriculum. In India, you have a set course of pattern. We cannot really decide between which courses to study in the first year, and we cannot really mix and match the courses from different departments. This is not the case overseas. In the entire your academic education of your masters, you have to complete 36 to 38 credits to complete a master's program, and within this program you can mix and match the curriculum. So if I'm studying a master's in computer science and I'm really interested towards specializations like artificial intelligence, which is a part of computer science department, and I also want to take up one or two subjects from the business school, a lot of universities would give you that flexibility as well. So yes, flexibility of the curriculum. If you can also take up 36 to 38 credits in the first year itself. So by this, you can complete a 2 year education in 1 year itself. So this is again a part of the flexibility with overseas education provide you. Case study methodology we have just discussed. This very important part is internship. I'm sure all of you will agree with me that in India, if you are getting an internship opportunity with a big brand name, and if they're not paying you anything, you still go ahead just for the sake of experience. This is again not the case overseas. The term unpaid internship generally does not exist. So, whatever work project you do for any organization, you are paid for it. A lot of students earn their next year's tuition fee with the internship which they are supposed to have after the first academic year. So yes, no free labor, you get paid for all your internships. Apart from that, you can also work part time. So any country you can work around 20 hours in a week part time as well. We will also discuss about part time in detail in the later slides. And the most important for which we get enrolled, placements. So in India, if you are pass out of a top ranked university, the average placement would be somewhere around 20 to 15 lakhs per year. Whereas in US, You can earn up to around 90,000 US dollars if we talk about US itself, if you are looking at computer science. So great variation in terms of future opportunities. In India, you all are aware that even if you do a bachelor's, getting a job immediately post completing your bachelor's is very, very competitive. The market, there's a lot of competition in the market. Therefore, a lot of engineers actually end up doing their MBA to get a perfect job, which is not the case overseas. Overseas, the quality of education and it focuses a lot upon practical experiences. So once you are done with your masters, you would be able to work immediately. You need not wait for a further masters in a business administration or a PhD program for that. So again, that's one of the reasons why I would suggest studying overseas. Now, just let us just have a quick look upon the average salaries for different courses at the master's level. If I talk about USA as the destination, computer science is one of the most popular programs which students from India go for. And when I say computer science, it's not just computer science or the broader level. A lot of standalone courses like masters in software engineering, masters in data science, masters of business analytics, data analytics. These are very popular overseas. Also, courses like gaming are also very popular. So if you are starting for a computer science related course, an average salary would be somewhere around $72,000. It can also go up to 90,000 and above, depending on your capabilities. So remember, students, there's no spoon feeding overseas. So there is no term of campus placement. You generally proactively network with the organization. The university will only help you with a job fair. So job fair would be a forum where you'll be able to meet the alums of different who are working in different companies. They come up for the job fair and they talk to you about the different vacancies that they have. You have to explain to the alum the what kind of work you have done while pursuing your masters, and then you grab an opportunity for either a mini internship or generally a mini internship, which generally gets converted into a full-time scholarship. So there's no campus placement, but yes, there are job fairs which the universities help you with. Coming to business, if you're going to study business, the average salaries would be around $71,000. And there are other popular courses like engineering, again, 70,000 above. It can also range up to $90,000 and above, depending on the location where you are and how much proactive you are in terms of your networking. The similar data for Canada as well. Canada, again, very popular for computer science, engineering, business, psychology courses. So if you're looking for a career in these fields, definitely Canada is the next destination for you. You can look at the screen about the average salary packages for the different courses like marketing, human resource, social work, mechanical, etc. Now, coming to our destination, which is North America, why study in US and Canada in particular? So, if you see the world ranking, US and Canadian schools generally top the list. Canada is very popular for research and innovation. So, if you're looking for a long term career in research or a thesis based program, Canada definitely is the right place for you. Also, for students who are interested in engineering and sciences, great opportunities. A lot of organizations available with large amount of vacancies available for these courses. So yes, Canada is the right destination, in US as well. Very popular for research, innovation, as I've just told you. Flexibility of the curriculum, again, available in both. Canada is again very, very affordable. So once we proceed further, I will also talk about what are the cost structures of both the destination. So affordable education in Canada, wide range of courses available. So if you're not really sure which specialization I want to do into, you can get into a normal master's program and choose the specialization in the very second year. But if you're pretty sure that I'm only keen for a master's in let's say data analytics, you can also apply for these standalone courses. So options would be available both the ways. Also, more research opportunities available for PhD courses. Generally, it's fully funded for international students. So if you have the right profile and you apply within the right timelines, you can also get into a PhD program with full funding. These are some of the popular courses from which Indian students generally apply for. which are computer science, data science, management. When I say management, it would be related to international business, marketing, supply chain, operations, all various aspects. Biotechnology, engineering. Engineering would include all courses like mechanical, electrical, etc. Economics, psychology, healthcare, business. And under business, I mean masters in business administration. That's again one of the very popular option overseas. Now, for the ones who are more inclined towards PhD and thesis courses, let me give you a brief overview about how the application process or how it works overseas. Now, there are two kind of master courses. One is masters by coursework, which is masters by non-thesis, and masters by coursework, which is known as thesis program as well. If you are a student who wants to pursue PhD, you will always apply for a master's by thesis. But be sure when you apply for a thesis based program, you are required to network with a supervisor before you actually file the application. So how in the PhD students, every professor just takes around one or two students under them for the entire year. So yes, it's very, very competitive. Network with the professor, drop them an email, not a very bulky email with a lot of attachments, a small email which gives a synopsis of your research done till date in the body of the email, and then you send it across to the department supervisor, whichever course you are preferring for. If the professor likes your thesis, if likes your research work, they would email you back. They will revert back stating, "I'm really interested in the work you are doing, and would really appreciate if you can, actually fill in the application for this program." That's when you start filing an application for a PhD course. In case you do not get such a positive response, I will not recommend filing the application. In that case, chances of rejection are way higher. So only apply for a thesis program if you have a lot of experience in terms of research on your resume, which means it can be a paper publication, attending conferences, and a paper. So writing a paper doesn't really add a lot of value. But if the paper is published in an international journal, really adds great value to the application. If you don't have a lot of such things, you can always apply for a master's non-thesis program, and later on you can always convert it into a thesis. Again, a great opportunity for students and an option which is not available in India. If I join a non-thesis program and if I'm performing well, I can get in touch with my supervisor and they can recommend me for a thesis program. So that conversion of program is available once you get into the university. Coming to the cost of education, Canada generally is popular for two kind of like education provider programs. One is the degree program, and the other one is diploma. So degree and diploma are two very popular options. The major difference is diploma is it's not very expensive. As you can see on the screen, your tuition would be somewhere around 7 to 10 lakhs for a year, so you can wrap up the entire program in 15 lakhs, including the tuition as well as the living expenses. Whereas degree courses are more competitive to get in. Popular universities in Canada are University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, Wilfrid Laurier, Queen's University, McMaster, McGill. All these universities are quite competitive to get in at the master's level, high requirement in terms of the academics, and also are expensive. So 1 year at a university would cost you somewhere around 25 lakhs, including the tuition and the living expenses. Scholarship opportunities are there at the degree level, but not at the diploma level because it's anyways not very expensive. A student who has 16 years of education, that is 12 plus 4, like if I'm doing engineering in India or biotechnology or pharmacy, that student can apply for a degree program in Canada, because both US and Canada need 16 years of education to be eligible to apply for a master's course. But do not worry, if you have 15 years of education, if you have done your business course in India, you would still have options, limited options at the university level, and limited options and diploma option accept all 15 years of education students. So need not worry. If you think you do not have a lot of funds available, still are keen on going overseas, Canada diploma programs are the right programs for you. These are short term programs, very cost effective, but help you grab a job very soon. These are more, they prepare you more for the jobs. So yes, this can also be one of the options. And talking about US universities are only there, and the cost of education for 1 year would be around 20-25 lakhs, including the tuition and the living expenses. Yes, scholarship is available. Now, a lot of students are like, they start calculating that once we are on campus, this is the amount that we'll earn on campus, and this is how we'll be able to meet our needs. So correctly said, there are a lot of on-campus opportunities both in US and Canada. A student in US can work for 20 hours in a week, but within the campus. Unlike Canada, in US you can only work 20 hours within a week on campus itself, and you are paid 20 per hour. So you can earn around 23,000 dollars, $23,000 for a month as well. There are other things also which you can do, like being a graduate assistantship, being a tuition, being a research assistant. These are also things which you can actually participate in. For Canada, you can work 20 hours in a week, but you can also work outside the campus. The average per hour wage rate is 26 Canadian dollars. Again, great opportunity for students. This is the main difference between US and Canada. In US, you can only work on campus. In Canada, you can also work outside the campus. So both these opportunities are very good for students. While working outside campus, students get into different jobs. They work in McD's, they work in Domino's, they work in various healthcare sectors and other sectors depending on the industry they are aiming at. But yes, this opportunity of working outside campus is available. But what to do if I'm studying inside on campus, and what are the opportunities I can avail while I'm studying on campus? So first, you can apply for graduate assistantships. Now, what is a graduate assistant? If I am helping my professor for any research work, I can assist my professor and get a stipend for that. I can apply for a teaching assistantship. So a lot of universities allow students to teach the undergrad kids a lot of programs. You get stipend for that as well. So that's teaching assistantship. You can work at the library, you can work at the cafeteria, you can also be a peer tutor. All these things will help you fetch in money for yourself, which would be enough to take care of your daily and daily living expenses. But do not think that they will come to you on their own. Once you are on campus, you have to be proactive and you have to apply for these opportunities. Also, there are other things, like if you are in the first year and if you maintain a CGPA, if you maintain a particular CGPA, you get some amount of scholarship for that as well. So these are different things which would open up as opportunities once you are on campus. So you have to be proactive from day one and ensure that you apply for all these opportunities. Coming to post study work, right? Every student's main aim is to understand what duration can I stay back in a country to find a job post completing my program. In Canada, there is no difference if you apply for a degree or a diploma program. The post study work right is dependent on the duration of the course. So, irrespective, I'm going for a diploma or a degree. If I'm doing a program which is of 8 months, I can stay back up to 1 year. If I'm studying for a program which is of 1 year in duration, I can stay back in Canada after the 1 year for one additional year. Only if the program is more than 18 months, I can stay in Canada up to 3 years. This is one of the main reasons why students are attracted towards a destination. Canada is also a destination which is easy in availing a PR. So, whether you are enrolled in a diploma or a degree program, you are eligible for a post study work right depending on the duration of the program. So, if I am studying for a program of more than 18 months, post the 18 months are completed, I can stay back for additional up to 3 years in the country to find a job. Once I'm in the country, the employer will also help me find the work visa, because obviously they also want me to be on board. Study opportunities in US. US bifurcates the study opportunities in terms of STEM and non-STEM programs. Now, as you can see on the screen, what is STEM accreditation? STEM means any program which falls under science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. All these courses are known as STEM accredited courses. So US says if you are applying for a STEM accredited program, post completion of the course, you can stay back for 3 years in the country. Even it's a 1 year or a 2 year program, doesn't matter. But if it's a STEM designated program, you can stay in the country for up to 3 years. And if it's a non-STEM program, you can stay in the country for 1 year. Now, I will give you a few examples of some STEM programs. All your computer sciences, engineering, biotechnology, in finance, statistics, mathematics, architecture, these are all STEM accredited programs. If you are going for courses like business and management, it's a non-STEM accredited program, so you will be able to stay back 1 year post completion of a program. Now, let's understand what are the entry requirements to apply for a master's level course in US and Canada. When we talk about Canada, as I've already explained, at the master's level, you need minimum 16 years of education. A couple of courses like MBA, psychology, finance courses also ask for a GMAT and a GRE course. If you are applying for MBA, work experience is also highly recommended. If you are applying for a diploma program, you can also apply with 15 years of education, that's 12 plus 3. And you need your mark sheets for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th standard. And the most important aspect is IELTS. You need to give your IELTS to apply for any program in Canada. It's on a band of 9, and you need to get 6.5 minimum overall and 6 in each band. So IELTS has 4 bands: reading, listening, speaking, writing. Overall score has to be minimum 6.5 and 6 in the other bands. Coming to US, US generally needs a GMAT GRE for most of the programs. This year, because of the COVID situation, a lot of universities have waived off the GRE and GMAT requirement. So the students who think preparing would take a lot of time, it's much of an hassle, this is the right time for you to apply. This year, most of the universities have waived off the GMAT GRE requirement. Again, if you're applying for an MBA program, 2 years minimum work experience is the minimum requirement. Also, do not worry. US and Canada, if you're applying for a degree program, if you've got bad marks in 10th and 12th, need not worry about it. Bachelor's is only is what being taken into consideration. Now, what shall be the timeline? When should I start preparing? What is the right time to start the application? What is the right time for visa? This chart will give you a detailed explanation about that. Remember, there are two sessions there are two major sessions in both these countries. One is spring, which is known as January intake. The other is fall, which is known as September intake. Your application process always starts a year before. So do not think that I'm in the final year, let me complete my exams and then I'll start applying. No, you will be pretty late by then. We are applying as international students. We would need a lot of time for our visas as well. So your application process will start a year before. So which means if I'm in my final year right now and I wish to join overseas universities next year, September 21, the application portals have already opened this year in the month of September. So this is the right time when you should spend and involve in filling in the application and the submission. So 1 year before, next year September, start this year September. So ideally, if you are giving the standardized test, you should be able to wrap up, by the month of March and August. Last, if I talk about IELTS, IELTS should be wrapped up maximum by December. At least take the first attempt in the month of November, December, because if you're not happy and you don't get the satisfactory score, you would have some buffer time to prepare, right? Keep the timeline in your mind about January and February to fill in all the applications. That would be a good time for submissions, because if you submit your applications early, you will definitely have an early revert and chances of scholarships are higher. Why do I say that is? Because applications are not piled up. Application review is first in, first out. So the earlier you apply, you are competing with lesser number of students. Therefore, probability of getting a successful admit and scholarship is higher. So December to February, you can apply, and the moment you apply, within 2 to 3 months, you will get the decision. Once you get your decision, you will start preparing for your financials, and you will start for your visa. So ideally, for US, your visa interview should start happening by the month of May, June next year. If you are looking at September 2021 as your intake term, if you are looking at Canada, you have to file your visa anytime before 1st of August. 1st of August is the deadline for visa. Now, scholarships, again, one of the most, like the most common question with students, will I get scholarship? How does it work? The very first popular kind of scholarship which is available is merit based scholarship. What do you mean by merit based? As the term suggests, on the basis of your merit. So once you submit your application, your academics will be scrutinized by the university's AdCom. Your the way you have written the statement of purpose, the way you have written the LORs, everything will be taken into consideration. If they find your profile very good in comparison to the other profiles that they have, the university will give you scholarship. Scholarship can be an entire tuition waiver, can be 50,000 Canadian dollars or US dollars, can be 10,000 per year, can be nothing as well. But the decision will roll out along with the admit letter. So once you get the admit letter, if you are getting a scholarship, it would be clearly mentioned. If it's not mentioned anywhere on the admit letter, means you're not getting a scholarship. You have not got the scholarship. Now, what can I do to maximize my chances of getting a merit based scholarship? As I just stated, apply with a good application and apply early. These are the only two things which can help you grab a good scholarship amount. Because if I'm applying late, and even if I have one of the best profiles, the amount might be exhausted by then. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. Coming to external scholarships, a lot of Indian bodies like Narottam Sheikh Dhirubhai Ambani scholarships are there where you can fill in their web form, but you have to check your eligibility before you actually apply. You apply for those scholarships, you get selected, you get the amount. The amounts generally vary, like it's 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, that's the general amount. Internal scholarships, that's the third kind. Only very top universities have these internal scholarship as an option because they have a lot of funding also. So internal scholarships are scholarships initiated by the universities. For example, you must have seen there's a scholarship only for women, by like women scholarship, or scholarship for students coming from backward areas. So if you are eligible for these kind of scholarship, check your eligibility. You have to answer the essay which is a part of the application, which generally the question is, why do you think you are eligible for the scholarship and why you should get the amount. You fill in the scholarship essay and submit it. If the university likes your essay, they will give you the amount. So these are the only three kind of scholarships available for master's students. To be very honest, for master's level, a lot of scholarship is not given. Why? Because the university knows that the moment you are on campus, you will start applying for various kind of assistantships, which will help you fetch a good amount of stipend. So, but definitely you can apply. Scholarship is always given by universities who want to hold you as an applicant. So, let's say if I'm applying to a university which is very difficult for me to get in, chances of getting a scholarship from there are limited. Whereas a university where I have high chances of getting in, they would give me a scholarship definitely to retain me as a student. That's the entire concept of scholarship given by universities overseas. So I think that's about from my end. And in the end, would like to give you a brief, heads up on what all things are required to apply. So you need to apply with your academic documents. That means you need letters of recommendation, statement of purpose, and your resume. So these are the things which are very, very crucial for the application process. Remember, it depends on your academics. So if my academics are average, but I write the application very well, I still can maximize my chances of getting through. So that's when consultants like us come into the picture. We actually can help you understand what are the right options for you, which country is the right would be the best fit for you, how to apply for the entire program, how to actually help up building your profile and presenting your profile in the application. So that's the things which are very, very crucial for the application process. So I think that's about from my end. And in the end, would like to give you a brief So Pooja, we can now start with questions. Okay, so I think Vibhuti has a question. Any information regarding the change in rules for student working hours because of COVID? So no changes in working hour because of the COVID thing. But yes, if I talk about industries like healthcare, the working hours have been extended up to more than 20 hours as well. So you have to just ensure that which industry are you aiming at. If you are into delivery and if you are into healthcare, you can work actually for extended hours as well. No such reductions in the work permit as of now, in the part-time work duration as of now. I hope that answers your question. Uh,
Next we have a question. Can I start by own firm after completing the degree in USA or Canada?
Yes, you definitely can. A lot of students get into entrepreneurship once they are done with the program. The beauty of studying overseas again would be you would be able to meet with a lot of other students who can be your potential investors moving on. So yes, overseas education teaches you the art of networking, which will further help you in creating, your contacts, and definitely you can start up something of your own. If you want to come back to India and start something, again possible. You want to stay there and start, I would rather recommend work for some time and then get into something of like an entrepreneurial thing, because always having some corporate experience does add a lot of value.
All right. I guess that answers your question. Ma'am, next we have a question from Bhumi, that is PGDM versus MIM versus MBA in Canada, BTech, which is better?
So overseas MBA and Masters in Management are completely different. Your Masters in Management, you are only eligible to apply if you have no work experience. So freshers go for Masters in Management, whereas students who have are already in the mid management level apply for MBA programs. So the requirements are completely different. If you are someone who wants to get into the field of management, do not have work experience, you should definitely apply for MIM. I would still recommend masters in management from overseas rather than a PGDM in India, because if you do it from India, again you would have to do an MBA after some point of time. Whereas if you go for an MIM, you can straight away start working. You would feel a need of an MBA program, but that would be around 6 to 8 years down the line, not before than that. So I would definitely suggest MIM if no work experience. If you have 3 to 4 years of experience, apply for an MBA program overseas. I hope that answers.
All right. Yeah, sure. Ma'am, next we have, can you, okay, someone wants your contact details.
Sure. So you can find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm there. Otherwise, you can get in touch with your team and they'll help you.
Yeah, we'll share your LinkedIn profile with them. Okay. Next, we have what will be the overall cost for a decent university, including living for Canada?
It would be somewhere around 20-25 lakhs on the lower end. But if I talk about universities like Toronto and British Columbia, they're slightly on the higher side. That would definitely shoot up more than 30 lakhs. But on an average, for a decent university, at least 25 lakhs for an year, including tuition living.
All right. So next we have is again from Bhavna, that is there any minimum IELTS score should we target?
IELTS requirement.
Is IELTS compulsory for admission in Canada?
So a lot of universities will say we will waive off this requirement while application. Still, I would highly recommend that you give the IELTS test because it is a requirement for the visa as well. So you have to give your IELTS test, and students ensure you give your IELTS academic test. There are two kind of IELTS tests: IELTS general and IELTS academic. You have to go for IELTS academic test, and on a band of 9, as I've shown on the slide, 6.5 overall, 6 in each band is a requirement.
All right. Um, I guess Bhavna, your question is answered. Next, we have another question that how long in advance should we start preparing?
Definitely 1.5 year before. If you are applying to US and you are supposed to give a standardized test like a GMAT GRE, you would need minimum 3 months of preparation for that. And if you are looking for Canada, where standardized test scores like GMAT and GRE are generally not required, still 1 year prior, because 1 year prior your application portals would open up, and by the time you take your IELTS and everything, you will be able to wrap up your application by December. So a good time to submit application is December. Extended should be by March at the max. Beyond that it will make your application process little more, getting in will be a little more competitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next we have from Bhumi that can we go to overseas through campus exchange program?
I wouldn't really. So you can definitely apply for a campus change, but a full time program definitely adds a lot of value. Why? Because a full time definitely will also help you, get the due credit of the post study work, right? If you are going for an exchange program, you can't stay back in the country for experience. And just studying is just one part of the program. Being able to stay there, work with organizations, and getting that practical experience is also very, very crucial. So if you can actually apply overseas, and if it's it's fitting you cost wise and in other parameters, definitely go for a full time program, because a campus exchange would be a very small stint overseas. It won't give you a lot of exposure.
All right. I guess your question is answered, Bhumi. Okay, we have another question. How to pursue PhD abroad?
Correct. As I did mention on the slide when we were discussing about master courses by thesis and non-thesis, if you are applying for a PhD program, first of all, identify the professor in the university who's pursuing a project which is in relation to your research. Drop an email to the professor with details of your research work done. Once you hear back positively, only then go ahead with the application. Until unless you have a positive response, I would not recommend applying for the program. So networking is the step one.
All right, that's amazing. Okay, next we have what are the key benefits of doing masters in abroad rather than doing it from India?
I think I've covered it in quite detail in the presentation. The difference would be in terms of your future opportunities, the opportunities that you can get on campus, curriculum, cost, everything. So there are a lot of parameters on the basis we have already done a comparison, a very detailed comparison in the presentation.
Okay. So next we have is which is the most preferred university, uh, most preferred country by the university?
I
IELTS,
think the
TOEFL,
question
or
is which is the
PTE?
most preferred test,
Most
standardized
preferred
test for these. Yeah. So
for these
all
countries.
these,
Yeah.
yeah. So all these three tests are actually accepted by all countries. But I would recommend that you give your IELTS, because IELTS is something which is accepted across. So if you're applying to Canada at the visa stage, again your IELTS would be a requirement. So you can give your IELTS test. It's on a band of 0 to 9, and 6.5 overall, and 6 in each is the requirement. So I would recommend that you go for IELTS test.
Okay, we have a third year engineering student specialized in IT, and she wants to know if her career in ethical hacking and cybersecurity, she has pursuing her career in ethical hacking and cybersecurity field. Can you please suggest some university in abroad where she can get the course and work part time?
So a lot of universities in US and Canada provide cybersecurity as a part of the curriculum. You will not get a program by the name of Masters in Cybersecurity. You will get it Masters in Computer Science, or a related field, and you will find it as a research area in the second year. So yes, there are a lot of universities. University of Southern California, Purdue in US, Toronto, British Columbia, McGill. Most of them would have this program. Now, which program would suit your profile the most? That is something we have to evaluate your entire profile and help you with that information.
All right, Meghna, I guess that would help. Okay, how can we expand our resources?
So expanding our resources in terms of financial, how do you plan your resources? Is that the question?
I guess financially, maybe.
So financially, a lot of students also take loan. You can apply for a loan of up to 20 lakhs. That's the education loan. So a lot of banks provide you with that. Also, apart from education loan, you should have some liquidity to show as a part of your visa stage as well. But yes, once you are on the campus, and if you are a proactive student, the second year tuition fee will not generally be a problem. And doing stuff on campus by by the means I've just mentioned, like peer tutoring, graduate assistantship, this will help you take care of your living expenses to a great extent. I hope that answers the question, dear.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay,
what are the
next,
requirements?
what all requirements are needed to go to a well-recognized college for post-graduation apart from GMAT or GRE?
So apart from GMAT, GRE, you would need a statement of purpose, which would talk about your intention of applying for a program. Statement of purpose will talk about your short-term, long-term goals, what you want to do in future in 5 years and 10 years down the line, and letters of recommendation, which would be given to you by your professors, and a resume. These would be the other requirements of your application.
Okay, I guess the question is answered very well. And next we have is, what according to you is the average part-time income for students studying in Canada and USA?
So as I told you, for US, you can the average wage rate is $20 an hour, and you can work 20 hours in a week. And for Canada, it is $26 an hour, and you can again work 20 hours within a week on campus and outside campus. In Canada, US, you can only work within the campus.
All right. And what are your views about student loans and how difficult it is to repay?
Student loan, so a lot, mostly students apply with student loan only. And student loan, the beauty of student loan is you start repaying post completion of your program. So if I'm applying for a 2-year program, my repayment would start after 3 years. That's the beauty of education loan. So in that ways, you won't be the cost won't be a burden on your parents as well. And you can also start paying after 1 year of your job. So for a 2-year program, repayment starts after 3 years. So you get one additional year to settle yourself. So that's the beauty of it. Yeah.
All right, that's amazing. Okay, we have seen that universities abroad look for students with more holistic backgrounds as compared to universities in India for academics and extracurriculars. What are your advice for the students on this part?
So in India, as we all know, academics is the only thing which is looked into. Even if you are going for an interview at a master's level, and if you have great academics, you have already made it half through. Yeah, you have already made it halfway. It's not the same overseas. As we have discussed while the presentation as well, your other activities also have a great importance on your application. So 40% weightage is on how you portray your application in the SOP and letters of recommendation. So even if you are a student with average academics but have done other things extracurricularly, I would still recommend work on the application, create a strong SOP and submit, which will definitely help you grab a seat in one of the popular universities. So the holistic view is the key benefit of overseas universities. Only academics is not looked into.
All right, so that is required. Great. Okay, if someone is already placed, should he or she still consider abroad studies or job is a better option for them?
Definitely. Definitely. If you are already placed, keep on having the experience by the time you apply, because your work experience is counted till the time you join the program. So if I'm right now applying for September 21, and right now I just have, 5 months of experience, by the time I join the university, all these months of experience would be counted by the university. So gain the experience here in India, which will definitely help you grab an opportunity once you start giving interviews overseas. But you can meanwhile start preparing parallelly and start applying for overseas as well, because even a small program will help you create the difference in terms of opportunities.
All right, so Bhumi, experience is required. Okay, moving further, we have from instructor's perspective, can you give any idea for students who get admission offshore as the surroundings will be completely new
From instructor's perspective.
as a
So
counselor?
we do prepare you in term. There is a term known as pre-departure. We do pre-departure sessions with students where we actually prepare you for a new environment, how to deal with it, what are the kind of things as difficulties you'll face, what are the things you should be prepared with before you fly. So these kind of mini sessions would be done by the counselors, which actually helps the student. So yes, that's a part and parcel of the services you get with a counselor to help you to prepare you for your next journey.
All right. Okay, I guess your question is answered, Vibhuti. Well, I guess that was all, and that was the last question from our end. And with that, it's a wrap. Thank you, ma'am, for giving us your time and this really splendid session. I'm sure all our attendees would have gained clarity on how to proceed further for studying abroad. We thank our audience for joining us today. Kindly fill the feedback form in the given in the description box. Have a good day. Thank you again, once again, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.